If you're watching this video, chances are you've been on a lot of awkward first dates. When I think back to high school and early college, I had so many dates where they went super awkward and I wasn't that confident. And a lot of it was because I just didn't really have a good plan. Oh, where do I take her? Oh, what should we talk about? Oh, how do I make a move? And so much of the advice you see on YouTube is just like complete bullshit. Oh, the top 7 ways to make her more interested in you. Which is exactly why I wanted to make this video, not to optimize for views or get a ton of people to watch it, but simply to optimize it for you to get good results on a first date. I can guarantee you that if you follow this 6-step guide, you will be much more confident and actually have a plan for a first date that you can feel good about. Now, obviously, I'm not saying like this is a fix-all solution and it's going to be absolutely perfect and like guarantee that, because of course, like, you're still going to go on some first dates that might be a bit awkward. You're still going to have some moments that may not always be perfect, but this gives you the best plan where you'll have the highest chance of having a good date. So with no further ado, here are the 6 steps you need to have a great first date. Step 1 is to connect before the date. Think about it from her perspective. Is she going to be more comfortable with you if you never actually talk on the phone, you just text the whole time and she's like, oh, I don't really know this guy, I don't know too much about him? Or will she be a lot more comfortable and lead to you guys connecting more if she actually knows more about you and is more comfortable with you? Of course, the more comfortable she is with you, the more likely you're going to have a good date. So now you're like, okay, well, how do I do this? Well, the best thing you can do is to actually FaceTime her before you go on a date. And there are a few reasons for this. Number 1, she's going to be a lot more comfortable with you when she gets to actually hear your voice and notice you're like a real person and not just some like AI robot texting her behind a screen, compared to the guy who just texts her the whole time. Because it actually gives you like a real personality, makes it known that you're a real person, not just some like random face on a dating app or on Instagram. Now, obviously, if you know this girl in person, you can kind of bypass this step, but it's important if you're meeting online. And the other reason FaceTiming is so important is because you can actually tell if you're going to be able to connect with her or not. Because if the FaceTime is super awkward and you don't really know what to talk about, you guys are kind of just having a lot of awkward silence, then you might know that it just might not be a good fit to go on a date with her. You guys might not be very compatible. It's a lot better to find out that way with quite a low time and money investment by going on a FaceTime, rather than taking her on some date and then, blowing a bunch of money and wasting a bunch of time with a girl who you don't actually connect with that well. So when you FaceTime her, just focus on asking high quality questions. Don't just blab about yourself the whole time. Oh, I was all league in high school in basketball and, oh, I like to do this. Like, obviously tell some stories about yourself, but make getting to know her and getting her to talk the focus, because women want to be with a man who can listen well to them, who actually they can talk about themselves. And then on the FaceTime, get a good gauge for what she likes to do and what she would want to go do on a date. Which then brings me to step 2, figure out what you want to do for the date. Where do you want to go? For exactly what you want to do, it really depends on the girl and what her interests are, but there are still some good rules that you can follow and things you can stick to. For example, you want to go somewhere where it's easy for conversation, where you guys can actually talk back and forth and get to know each other. Like, one of the worst first dates I ever went on was a movie first date. And it's because we were just like sat there the whole time watching the movie, not actually talking. So we'd been hanging out for 2 hours and then like I didn't even know anything about her and she didn't know anything about me. So do you think I got a second date in that scenario? No, of course not, because it was just super awkward the whole time. So instead of doing a movie or something that's like super loud where you can't really talk, do something that's easy for conversation, something like mini golf or bowling or going for a walk or a sunset or a picnic. Now, step 4, what should you talk about? So this is something that I really don't want you to overthink. Just talk about whatever is authentic to you and whatever comes to mind. A lot of guys will stress so much about, oh, what question should I ask her? Oh, how much should I talk? How much should she talk? But when in doubt, just relax and focus on being authentic. Don't have the mindset that like, oh, I have to be perfect and I have to impress this girl. Instead, have the mindset that, hey, I'm just going to be authentically myself, and if it goes well and if I get her to eventually be my girlfriend, then hey, that's great. But if it doesn't work out, then she just wasn't the one that's meant for me. And that's a mindset that you want to apply. Don't be the guy who's always coming from a place of scarcity, who's so worried about messing things up. Be the guy who's focused on being himself, on being authentic. And instead of only viewing her as a catch, view yourself as a catch and have the mindset that, hey, she actually has to win me over as well. And focus on letting her doing most of the talking. Because not only will that make her more comfortable with you, but it also takes a lot of the pressure off of you. Because so many guys are focused on like, oh, how do I impress her? Oh, what should I tell her that'll make her like me? But instead of doing that, have the mindset that I'm going to let her win me over. Now, step 5 is to make a move. Where a lot of guys mess up is they'll get to the end of the date and then they won't make a move. And now you're like, oh, well, what if she doesn't want to go for a kiss and what if it gets awkward? But think about it this way. If you go for the kiss and she doesn't want to go for it or she's not interested, then hey, that just tells you that she wasn't really that interested and, maybe she doesn't really like me. Or it just means that she needs to take more time to get to know you. And I actually think it's much better to go for a move and have it not work out than be the guy who's not confident and who doesn't want to make a move, because if you don't make a move, it shows a lack of confidence. It shows that you aren't confident in yourself. And if you don't make a move, she'll be thinking that either he doesn't really like me or he's not that confident, which isn't really the vibe that you want to give off. So just make a move, and if it goes well, if she goes for it, then you know that, hey, she probably wants to go on another date and she probably likes you. And it also shows a lot of confidence. And if it doesn't go well, then you just know, hey, either one, she just wasn't really that comfortable yet and we just need to take a little more time, or two, it tells you that, hey, she just doesn't really like me and I can move on and go talk to someone else. But anyways, bro, if you follow those steps, I guarantee you will have a much better chance at having a good first date. And when in doubt, just be confident in yourself and have the mindset that things are going to go well, because the guy who has a positive mindset and who isn't always telling himself self-deprecating thoughts will always be more successful than the guy who's beating himself up and going, oh, I don't think it's going to work out. Like, no, shut up, have a positive mindset, think positive thoughts, and good things will happen. If you found this video helped you, be sure to click the like and subscribe button, and also turn on the post notifications so you can see more videos like these. I'll see you for the next video, bro.